All right, let's talk about two ancient Chinese philosophies that have shaped a civilization for thousands of years, Taoism and Confucianism. Now, both of them were trying to answer the same question: how do you create a perfect, harmonious society? But wow, did they come up with two totally different ways to get there.
So, picture this. We're in ancient China, and you've got all these brilliant thinkers trying to solve the same basic problem. They looked around and saw chaos, and they knew there had to be a better way to find order and peace. The answer they were all searching for would literally define the future of their civilization.
I mean, really think about that for a second. How do you create a world where everyone just gets along, where things run smoothly and people are generally happy? This was the massive challenge on the table, and it led to some absolutely brilliant and, as we'll see, radically different ideas.
Okay, let's start with our first path, which comes to us from the philosopher Confucius. His big answer to that huge question wasn't about looking up to the heavens or out into the wilderness. Nope. For him, the answer was right here, in the structure of society itself. So, for Confucius, the secret sauce to a peaceful society wasn't about some cosmic energy. It was all about human relationships. He believed that if we could just perfect the way we interact with each other, parent to child, ruler to subject, then harmony would just naturally happen. It's a system built entirely on people. And what's so interesting here is just how practical this all is. Confucius basically said everyone has a role to play. You show respect to your elders, which creates stability. You have strong family bonds, and that's the bedrock for everything else. And, this is huge, leaders couldn't just be powerful. They had to be good. They had to be moral role models. And what's the engine that powers all this? Education. Always education.
But at the very same time, you've got this other philosopher, Lao Tzu, who had a completely different take. He basically argued that trying to pile on all these rules and roles was exactly what was causing the problems in the first place. His path to harmony didn't go through the busy city, but out into the quiet of nature.
Taoism is all about finding what they call the Tao, or the way. Think of it like the universe's natural current or flow. So instead of making a bunch of complicated, man-made rules, Taoists believed the goal was to just tune into this natural order and align yourself with it.
And this just shows you the incredible contrast, right? A Taoist would look at a forest and see perfect harmony without a single law or king. They believe that all our human ambition and our endless rules just stir up trouble. The real key to peace was living simply, being flexible, and, not fighting the current, just going with the flow.
So right there you have it. Two incredibly powerful competing ideas on how to find harmony. One looks inward, to the structure of human society, and the other looks outward, to the balance of the natural world. Let's put them right next to each other and see how they stack up.
This chart really nails the core tension between them. Confucianism is all about building something, a carefully ordered society through rules and education. Taoism, on the other hand, is about letting go, finding peace by simplifying your life and just yielding to the way things are. They're two completely different toolkits for living a good life.
So here's the bottom line for a Confucian. A beautiful garden is one that is perfectly manicured, right? Every plant is in its proper place, all tended to by a very skilled gardener. Order is something created by human effort and wisdom.
But for a Taoist, that same beautiful garden is a wild, untouched forest, where everything just grows in this perfect natural balance without any human meddling at all. Harmony isn't something you build, it's something you find.
But what if both of these amazing philosophies were just wrong? Out of all the chaos of the Warring States period, a third, much darker philosophy popped up: legalism. And it wasn't built on morality or nature. It was built on a very, very different idea about what people are really like.
This is the question that legalism drops like a bomb. It says, forget trying to teach people to be good. What if, deep down, people are just looking out for number one? Well, if that's your starting point, your whole system for creating order has to be completely different.
I mean, just look at how stark this comparison is. Where Confucius saw this potential for goodness in people that you could bring out with education and good leaders, legalists saw selfishness that had to be controlled. For them, the only way to keep society in line wasn't through respect, it was through super strict laws and the fear of really, really harsh punishment.
So you've got these three major schools of thought, one based on morality, one on nature, and one on fear. How did this all play out in the real world? What kind of impact did this have on one of the oldest civilizations on Earth?
Well, their influence was absolutely profound. Confucianism became the backbone of the government, of the civil service exams, and it shaped how families were structured for thousands of years.
Taoism, meanwhile, influenced art, medicine, and it gave people a kind of spiritual escape from all the rigid rules of society. These weren't just abstract ideas. This was the operating system for daily life.
And here's what might be the most fascinating part of this whole thing. The most successful rulers in China's history rarely picked just one philosophy. Instead, they got really good at blending them. They'd use Confucian ideas to manage the state and promote family values. But they'd use legalist tactics to enforce laws and collect taxes. And they'd sprinkle in Taoist ideas to connect with people on a more spiritual level. It was this powerful, pragmatic mix.
And all of that leaves us with a pretty big thought. These ancient questions are still so relevant. In our own lives, in our own societies, where do we look for balance? Do we find it by building better systems and more rules, or do we find it by stepping back and just trying to go with the flow? The debate, as you can see, is far from over.